This is a regular.
Recording in progress.
Okay, this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Public Facilities Committee. I'm present at the beginning of the meeting for counselors, Counselor Kelly from Ward 3, Counselor Leary from Ward 1, Counselor Danberg from Ward 6, Counselor Albright from Ward 2, Counselor Rado is online from Ward 7, and I think that might be it for the committee. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have two additional.
We have Counselor Lucas from Ward 2, and who else do we have?
Lovitz.
Oh, Counselor Lovovitz from Ward 6. And we have our committee clerk, Lisa Fennell, who, thank God, came back from her vacation.
Stop it, please.
And we have Mr. Daglian from the DPW engineering, and we have Commissioner Sullivan and Terry, what, I don't think I ever used her last name. Crowley, of course I knew that from DPW. Okay, the first item is 5625, request for main drain extension. It's Betsy Harper, Fairmont Ave, Newton. Petitioning for main drain extension that begins at the end of the drain manhole. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. The overflow connection will be provided to the dwellings along the proposed drain main extension that she's required to put in. So as we all know, this was referred back from the city council to the committee last night, so that we could pursue an idea that Councilor Kelly came up with, which would be a third-party review of all the engineering that's been presented to us, since we have conflicting engineering reports. And we've been speaking with Andrew Lee, who provided to us some wording, and then Councilor Kelly amended it a bit. We could put that on the table just to hear what we're talking about tonight, just as a way to start the conversation off.
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Why don't I just tentatively make the motion and use it as
Use it
fodder
as-
for
right,
conversation.
right.
Nothing is set in stone again. Andrew Lee gave some guidance and I added some specifics I wanted to be sure we covered. So why don't I just read it? And if you want, Lisa, I'll give you the written version of it later if you want to record it. I move to authorize the city to engage an independent third-party engineer with expertise in stormwater management and design, for which the applicant has agreed to pay the fees to review, one, the plan submitted by the applicant for the proposed main drain extension. Two, the memos submitted by Everett M. Brooks Company and Chestia Consulting Services LLC. And I would add any addenda and amendments that have come in as a result of that. Three, the stormwater analysis for the proposed roadway in the subdivision and potential development of the lots, including the viability for the lots to comply with the requirements of the city's stormwater ordinance. And four, review the impact of the applicant's proposed improvements to Chapin Road related to stormwater. So 4 pieces of that.
Okay. And we've been joined by Councilor Gentile from Ward 4, now Councilor Getz from Ward 5, Councilor Kales from Ward 8. So I think we might want to be here. And we also have Ms. Harper, who, from the petitioner, who, if we decide to do this, I would like to have her verbally agree online and then follow that up with a letter that she agrees to pay for this. And that the city would choose the firm. So I open it up for discussion.
I would just have a question about how the engineer would be decided upon and how we can ensure that they're completely impartial.
So one thing I learned today from Mr. Lee is that there is a peer review ordinance. I mean, not ordinance, peer review state law in chapter 44, which I'm even new about, but that's what we use for land use all the time. But Commissioner Sullivan, would you like to talk about that? How the person would be chosen?
So I think that we would meet internally and discuss the options. We have a number of different consultants that fit the role.
And the
The
impartiality,
They are always impartial. We never direct them. We give them the scope and have them make the recommendations.
So I think you could help us as chair of land use, or President Laredo as chair of land use formerly. We have peer reviews of projects all the time. in that setting. Perhaps Councilor Kelly, you can tell us how the peer review works.
Well, and President Laredo to hop in, we do this all the time, and or frequently in land use where we just need another opinion. In this case, I felt like we had two such diverging points of view that for the benefit particularly of the counselors who were still confused about this, having someone with stormwater management and design experience who is well respected and credible, which according to Commissioner Shauna are the only people they have on call anyway. Would help us be able to parse the differences that we're hearing. We do it for special permits a lot when there are two different sides of things. Again, planning is more used to doing this, I think. I can't speak for you, actually, Commissioner Sullivan.
We do peer reviews on occasion.
On occasion, we do it a lot with planning and land use. So to me, it felt like a normal process to take here. President Laredo, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
I do, as you're correct, Counselor Kelly, in land use process, we often hire a peer reviewer selected by the planning department from a group of folks who've been previously vetted for their experience. I think there's a difference here, however, and the difference is that one of the opinions we're looking at is of our own city engineers. They've weighed in on some of this. And I guess I'm fine with the DPW selecting an engineer. I think it would be appropriate in this circumstance to discuss those choices or choice with both the representative, the neighbors, and Ms. Harper's or her team to see if there's some consensus that we can get here.
I actually raised that issue with Mr. Lee this afternoon, and I mean, if we need him, we can get him to join us, but he says it is totally inappropriate to ask either the city or the neighbors or anybody. This is someone that DPW works with, and it is appropriate apparently for them to choose the person and let that person do this work.
The other clarification.
Look, I just want to, I'll defer to the chair. It's obviously the chair and I appreciate Chair Kelly, Councilor Kelly's views on this. I've certainly had experience hiring experts before, and oftentimes your choice of expert can sometimes, no matter how capable they are, lead you one way or the other to certain results. So I just want us to be extraordinarily careful here. And I'll leave it at that. If it's the will that we don't consult with everyone else, and that's fine. I do think an independent review is a good idea. And I appreciate Councilor Kelly for raising it.
Well, thank you. Can I just address one more thing that President Laredo mentioned? I had talked with Attorney Lee about adding to the list of things to review the perspective and statements that have been made by the city engineer, which you just mentioned, I believe, President Laredo. The law department feels that very strongly that is not an appropriate request of a third-party reviewer to be assessing the city engineer perspective. So part of my motion is to look at the one that Brooks Engineering, Mike Cosmo provided, and the one that Chesia provided, and the whole entire site, and any amendments that have been submitted by Chesia or their attorney, but not to, I think if I were that reviewing company, I would look at what the city engineer has said, but that's not part of the specific charge here to questions.
In regard to that, you're reminding me that I specifically asked Andrew, so is the review according to city ordinances? Does this meet the city ordinances as opposed to what that engineer said and then what that engineer said? Does this project meet city ordinances? And that's what the third party reviewer would really pay attention to.
Yes.
So, next on my list is Councilor Kalis.
So I think that if we're gonna have a third party reviewer, we do need to have both parties at the table agreeing about
It can't happen.
who it is and on the outcome.
It can't, Well, you
Meaning,
certainly
no,
can't
no,
agree on the outcome.
on
The choice of the
on
selection.
whatever, on the selection of the engineer and listening to whatever the outcome is from that person. Or that company.
I'm gonna ask Andrew.
Because if we
Andrew,
don't do
you're
that-
listening, please join us.
If we don't do that, then we end up right back where we are right now. And that's why I think it's really important that both, that the community, that Betsy, that the city, that we agree on the engineer and we agree on whatever that outcome that they say is the right path, then we all pursue that.
I hear you saying that, but apparently this is something that is not done in the peer review process, is not done. It is totally third party picked by the department and it goes from
Well,
there.
why can't we, okay, we'll do it a little differently, why can't we bring somebody from the residents, bring in Betsy and bring in the city and say, okay. These are the companies we're looking at,
It's not gonna happen. The law department will not let that happen.
Is Andrew gonna be able to join?
I just texted him. He said he would join us if I needed him. And Andrew, please join us.
the second thing I wanted to bring up is. I'm not sure that bringing in a neutral engineer. Solves the issue that I heard. Which is that the property is gonna be sold to somebody who's gonna develop it and plans can change. Now, I haven't been to some of these meetings, I missed some of them, so.
Yes.
I'd like us to talk about that, because that is definitely a concern.
I wanna say something that's important for everybody to hear.
Yeah.
If this committee doesn't want to approve this, as Andrew told us in the beginning, this committee has a lot of discretion. So if we find that we don't like the project, that we don't like the proposal, that we don't like, that we don't like the third-party review, we have the discretion to say no. So you always have that in your back pocket to say no.
Well, it should be based on.
It should be based on the
Of
facts,
course.
but if you feel that the facts indicate that this project should not be approved, then you have the discretion to do so.
Counselor Andrew is on.
Oh, Andrew, are you there? Thank you, Andrew.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't hear the conversation.
I don't, did you get a chance to hear the conversation while you were joining?
You're on mute,
Yeah.
unmute.
Unmute.
There you go, there you go.
There we go.
Were you able to hear the comment that Councilor Kalis made, that he wants? He's
So-
suggesting that we have a meeting where the neighbors and the city, and I'm not sure who else, but everybody sits at a table and agrees on who the consultant is going to be.
For the peer review.
Yes.
Yes,
So the peer review is set forth by statute in chapter 44, section 53G. It's all about an independent peer review, meaning that neither of the, I'll say parties in the sense of who's against it or for it actually selected, who needs to select it is a city. And just a city, specifically because it's supposed to be, again, an unbiased, independent third-party review. So it follows the normal course of the city's procurement requirements where whomever we choose, they're supposed to be unbiased. We only look at qualifications as well as, kind of what other services they're bringing in their bid price. The way that it's going to work for this particular peer review, and I know this after talking to the city engineer, Alfredo Vargas, is that we have several professional engineers that have on-call status. And amongst those that we have, again, whom already have been vetted, they're going to be given the specifications for exactly what kind of peer review we're looking for, and then they're going to bid. And based on looking at those qualifications and of course the price and things like that, then we'll make a determination. The city will make the determination of whether or not they're the appropriate engineer to do this peer review. So again, just to be clear, it's the city that needs to make that determination in a completely unbiased way. The second you let either the applicant or you let the actual anyone who's against the application itself, the request, have a say in who the peer reviewer is, it's no longer independent.
Given that,
yeah.
have you asked, or have we asked the community what they think about this? the bringing in a consultant.
Do we want this consultant because we have to figure out how to vote on this? That's the issue here. Do we need this expertise or not? If we don't need the expertise, if we're ready to vote on this project without it, we can move forward. It's not about who's happy and who's unhappy. I don't know if Ms. Harper's happy with it or if the neighbors are happy with it. It's what do we need to make a decision?
That was why I originally suggested it, because it felt to me after our last meeting and talking with other counselors that the counselors themselves, we counselors and the greater group of 24 were unclear about how to weigh the two different opinions, and that we needed more information, independent professional really, views in order to make a good decision, be able to vote on this. I thought it was for us.
This is all about us and how, helping us to make a decision. So I think you're next.
Yes, I'm the Ward 6 counselor here. This is in Ward 6. And, we in Ward 6, counselors in Ward 6 have been looking at this for a very, very long time. We were looking at it prior to its ever coming to the city for discussion. And, from what, we have been told tonight by, Chairman, Albright, the reason for our doing this is so that this peer reviewer can look at the ordinances and decide whether this is appropriate within the ordinances. Not whether there should be another one house there or two houses there or no houses there. Is this appropriate within the ordinances? And that's what is going to be looked at. And I think that's what we need to know. And as far as bringing everyone to the table so that they can squabble over whether the company that we have chosen is going to be sufficiently friendly to their side, I think that's has to be off the table, not just inappropriate. It's got to be off the table. And it should be the DPW and only the DPW that makes that choice.
Counselor Getz.
So there are a couple of pieces that are floating right now. I actually would like for you to ask Attorney Lee whether or not, you remember when you were talking about everybody coming to the table and agree, like mediation. And I think that's outside the purview of this, but I just wanted Andrew Lee to confirm that, because I sort of feel like that's too much, we cannot, this is done the circle, it's about us getting to a place where we understand, the validity of what's being applied, but in ordinances. You did already say.
Yeah, I think he said that.
You already said that. Okay, well, I was just, no mediation, no,
Right.
We don't all walk out of here agreeing to something. But my other concern is what you're suggesting, because I actually want to know through this third party, we've gotten so much data and information from these two engineers, the validity of that information, that's beyond the ordinance.
Yes.
It's the project
Yes.
specifics that
So
need to
beyond
be.
the ordinance.
Well, it's
beyond
the
the
engineering meet the ordinances.
Yeah.
It's about the engineering and the ordinances, and do they work together or
But
not?
the actual, what has been generated as data from this site,
Yes.
the validity of that, because they conflicted,
Yes.
between the two engineering reports. So that's another piece that's important for me. Okay.
Agreed. Counselor Rita, do you still have your hand up or is that something new?
I do. I was a little bit confused by Counselor Danberg's comments there. And I am concerned about having a peer reviewer tell us whether something fits our ordinances or not. I want to go back. What is the peer reviewer going to be charged with exactly? What is the task?
We'll read it again.
I'll read it again, Mark. We were not here at the time when the meeting started. A move to authorize the city to engage an independent third-party engineer with expertise in stormwater management and design, for which the applicant has agreed to pay the fees to review. 1, the plan submitted by the applicant for the proposed main drain extension. 2, the memo submitted by Everett and Brooks Company and Chester Consulting Services LLC, and any addenda and amendments they have submitted. 3, The stormwater analysis for the proposed roadway and the subdivision and potential development of the lots, including the viability for the lots to comply with the requirements of the city's stormwater ordinance. And finally, 4, review the impact of the applicant's proposed improvements to Chapin Road related to stormwater. That's what the current motion and discussion is about.
Okay, I guess here's what I'm struggling with, okay? There's multiple issues here. One is, could they theoretically, go into the stormwater system and we allow additional stormwater to be discharged into our system as opposed to on site? That's really a policy issue that I don't expect this expert to opine on at all. There's a lot of, that's our decision, okay? That's our decision whether we want to allow that or not. Maybe good reasons to do it, may not be. I guess I guess I come down to the fact, if we want to have some outside person look at this, fine. I'm going to be really clear. I will not view myself as being bound by that person's opinion. And I think, just like I'm not bound by the petitioner's expert's opinion, nor the neighbor's expert opinion, I'm going to look at that as one piece of the puzzle. If we get more information, can't hurt, it seems to me. But I want to be very clear, because I heard a little bit from Councilor Danberg. Well, if we get this opinion, that's kind of going to end the debate. And I want to be explicit that I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's our role. I don't think this expert is going to be making decisions for us. This expert is simply providing another opinion, which, as with any expert opinion, we're free to agree with or disregard in its entirety. So that's how I view it.
I agree with you, President Moreno.
President Laredo, that's not the idea that I was attempting to convey, that this would be the final decision. What we want to know is their opinion of whether this complies, whether this project complies with the city ordinances. That's what we are hiring them to give us their opinion on. And of course, we can then make judgment of our own as to where that peer review lies in its importance.
And I do think it's similar to having been on land use for 12 years, I think it's similar to the process in land use. You can let the peer reviewer give you the information, but that doesn't mean you're gonna go with what the peer reviewer, says. So it's very,
Not a
it's
determinant.
gonna be our decision as a committee.
That's fine. I view this as a technical expertise, not whether it's complying with an ordinance per se. They're intermixed, but in my mind, there's some difference. But I don't want to get stuck on semantics here, okay?
Mr. Lee, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Everything President Laredo said was correct, but I just want to make it clear that despite the breadth of the motion that Councilor Kelly set forth, I want to make clear that the peer reviewer is doing they're just reviewing. All they're doing is they're reviewing the documents and engineering studies that have already been sent. Sorry, my son decided to wander in for a second.
Hey, have enjoy the meeting.
Oh, he's already going. I
You
asked.
better put him in the city payroll.
Apologies. So, all I was saying is that they are not doing any new study. They're only reviewing what has been submitted and using their engineering expertise to determine whether or not that is all accurate based on their expertise.
Yes, that's my understanding as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Lee.
And Councilor Lovovitz, let me call on Councilor Gentile first, and then I'll call on you. I'll deal with the committee first, if that's okay. Councilor Gentile?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So let me just try to keep this simple. I'm hoping that the peer reviewer will help me to understand better if the drain extension as proposed is gonna work or not. I mean, I thought that's why we were getting in an independent third party. So to me, that's the primary reason for doing it. If he opines on whether or not this conform with our ordinances, I guess it doesn't hurt things, but I just want, because, you know, we're getting these strongly different opinions, and it depend, you know, from the two different sides. So we're just trying to get somebody independent to help us better understand whether it works or not. I'm repeating myself, but the one thing I wanted to bring up, which I was surprised by, we're being asked to approve a drain extension, but I thought I heard the chair mentioning earlier in the evening that at the beginning of this process, we have all kinds of latitude, and if we don't, quote, like the project, that we can vote against it. I was not under that impression. The work of the Board of Survey is completed, and they saw fit to say that, you know, this is appropriate for two house lots. But Susan, are you saying that if we just don't like the project, there shouldn't be two house lots there because it's a idyllic, beautiful open space that you can just vote against it? Or are we supposed to focus on the drain extension?
So, Mr. Lee, would you mind repeating to us what the role of the council is?
Absolutely. So just to be clear, the subdivision approval and the determination made by the Board of Survey has no bearing on what the City Council will determine. Just because the Board of Survey or the Planning Board acting as the Board of Survey determined to grant the subdivision approval, that does not mean that the City Council is now bound to grant grant the main drain extension in order to accommodate the subdivision approval. The City Council's task is separate and distinct. The City Council, if they determine that the granting of the main drain extension would, and give me a second so I can find the exact language, is necessary for the public convenience or the public health. That's the question. And if the answer is yes, then the City Council may grant the main drain extension. But there's certainly no obligation to.
No, Andrew, I'm not saying that there's an obligation, but I also think we need to be fair here. If somebody doesn't like what the Board of Survey did and said that we shouldn't even be considering a main drain extension because there should never have been two house lots approved, that doesn't seem as though that's what we're supposed to be focused on. We're supposed to be focused on, they determine, and it's their job to determine if these lots are buildable lots, and they made that determination. And if I'm hearing you correctly, if we don't like that determination, we don't really even have to seriously consider the drain extension, and that just doesn't seem fair to me.
What I'm saying, so the subdivision approval is focused on frontage. That's the main concern. Frontage and ability to have the adequate utilities in order to service the lots. That's the focus of the subdivision law. So what I'm saying is that the subdivision approval, in the sense that it's there's any conditions, that has no bearing on the discretion of the City Council in granting a main drain extension or not. As far as the City Council should think about it, forget it's a subdivision approval. Just say that they're already divided lots. They were already divided lots, and they need an extension of some sort. They need something for the main drain. That's my point. That the subdivision approval, the fact that that happened, does not necessarily mean that the City Council has to vote in any particular way. That's all I mean.
Okay,
All set then?
I guess, yep.
Okay, thank you. So did you want to say
Yeah,
something?
I actually, Mr. Lee, or Attorney Lee, I'm actually very confused here because I thought that actually the subdivision was conditioned. And that the actual, I live in a world where it's in an if kind of status, that the main drain extension, that utility needed to be in place. And it needed our approval. So where are we with that? Because I see this as, delineated as a condition.
No, you're correct, Council Getz. It is conditioned. The point I'm trying to make, though, is just because it was conditioned by the Board of Survey does not mean that the city council has to grant it. That's all I'm saying. I'm talking about the discretion that the city council has
Yeah.
on this particular request before you. Is that clear or is it still not,
Well,
is it
it's a
still
little
confusing?
bit fuzzy in my head because I sort of feel as if it's in an if status. And it's coming to us for approval of this main drain extension. And I sort of feel as if, we're, been given the authority. In the sense of like the final approval of this secondary lot subdivision. Is that
So,
correct?
no, I think you need to think of them as two completely separate approval processes. And I can give you another example. Let's say, for example, there's a property that needs a special permit, and it also happens to be landmarked, a local landmark. It's going to have to go to Newton Historical Commission. It's going to have to go to the city council, but in separate capacities. And just because one body makes a determination and approval of a particular project does not mean that the other party or the other body is bound by that decision and has to grant the same thing. That's my point that I'm trying to make here. Is that still not clear?
Is it true that the planning board doesn't have the authority to grant a main drain extension?
That's correct.
That's what we have. So they want a main drain extension to be part of this project. And that's why it came to us, because they can't go forward with that without our approval.
That's right, as a separate and distinct approval process.
Does that make more sense, Councilor Getz?
Somewhat, but then I hear our engineer suggesting that we don't even have that purview. He was at some point, suggesting that it's within his authority to grant the.
No, he had the
No, I'm sorry, I just want to make it clear
Okay.
that the only thing I've ever heard from the engineer through this whole process, and the associate engineer, John Daglian, is here, and he can perhaps echo this, is engineering department, they are in charge of the issuance of the stormwater permit, which again, and I'm sorry that I'm saying this, and I hope it's not confusing, is a separate and distinct approval process from the main drain extension. After this process is done, and let's just say, not saying that there's any indication this is going to happen, but if the city council approves the main drain extension, the property owner is going to have to fully comply with the stormwater ordinance separately. And in order to do that, they have to apply to the engineering department, who is in charge of administering that ordinance. That is what I've heard the engineering department say that is within their purview, which is correct because that's how the ordinances are set forth.
Okay, so each of us has a role to play, the planning board, us,
Right.
and the engineering department.
Yeah, it's getting very confusing, fortunately, and I also feel the authority piece is also getting very confusing, just because I kind of am somewhat, if they're commingling right now.
Well, it's just, it's sequential. You have to think of it as a sequential process.
Map it out. Write it down.
No, I understand that, but I'm hearing things from their attorney that suggest to me that this needs a different.
Well, so you have to read.
Everybody-
Did you see we
Yeah,
had an
and-
email
and
response
survey
today from
today.
Mr. Daglian and
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yeah,
Attorney Lee, in the response.
right,
So I think it's important that and we will understand that when the time comes. We
Right.
won't discuss that tonight,
yeah, I
but
think
we will
wanna
get to
into
a
this.
discussion of that
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Counselor Lovovitz, you waited a long time.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am confused a little bit about the engineering opinion in this independent
We're losing you.
engineering opinion.
Or no screen.
Yeah, turn off your
That
camera.
was, I'm sorry?
Turn
You're
off your
garbled.
camera because
You are garbled.
we don't have enough.
We can't hear you. It's broken up, so get rid of your video and
Can
go
you,
to audio.
can you hear me now?
No, you're
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up, and we're suggesting if you turn off your video, you'll have more bandwidth for your audio.
Okay, sorry. Let's
Try
try
it
that.
again.
Okay.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me better? Yes.
Yes,
So to start again, I am confused about the independent engineers weighing in on what ordinances actually apply to this situation. There's clearly a difference of opinion, and that has huge implications for what the requirements are for the adequacy of a drainage system. So I was wondering if somebody could clarify that issue as to whether the engineer, I would think that the engineer offering an opinion would reference the ordinances that he or she is using to render their opinion. Is that correct or not? I just need clarification of that.
Yes, that's true. Mr. Lee, would you like to comment?
So I don't think there's any, so just to be clear, there's no ordinance at play here, really, in the sense of what the city council is doing. The city council has before them a request for a main drain extension. That's an operation under statute. What the city council here has through its public facilities committee, what they've done is they've raised questions about whether or not this development can actually adhere to the stormwater ordinance, and have, again, this is just from my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Chair, and want to better understand the stormwater impact of this particular project.
Yes.
Yes, but there's a difference of opinion as to which ordinances apply. That's what I'm getting to.
And Councilor Lobovitz, from what I understand, there's no difference of opinion of what ordinance applies. We have a single stormwater ordinance. That's it. It's singular. There might be differences of opinion about the engineering work. There might be differences of opinion about interpretation of the stormwater ordinance. But in terms of what ordinance applies, I do not believe that there's any dispute. It's the stormwater ordinance.
Okay, I just want to follow up with a question about that. Have you read the memo from Attorney Dennis Murphy?
I did.
Unfortunately,
You did?
because you did not receive the response to it from Mr. Lee and Mr. Daglian. So, Attorney Lee, do you want to speak to it, or Mr. Daglian? That you responded to that, and we will provide it to you, Councilor Lobovitz. It only went to.
Okay, I don't think I need a response. I'd like to see the response. But the question is whether there is a dispute or a valid dispute over which ordinances apply, or is that a settled issue already?
There is no dispute over which ordinance applies.
Okay, I guess it will be our judgment as to whether that's the case or not. Is that correct?
I'm not aware of the dispute, so if the question arises, and there's a legitimate dispute, I'd be happy to weigh in at the time, Councilor Lobovitz.
Okay. Thank you for your response. I look forward to receiving those documents that Chair Albright referred to. Thank you.
Lisa Pennell, we'll send it to the rest of the council tomorrow. Okay. And the neighbors as well. So if I don't see any other hands up, are there any other points of discussion? Anything to be added to the charge? Are we all set with the charge?
Councilor Kalis suggested a few additional words to this, which I can quickly read. The very beginning was to move to authorize the city to engage an independent third-party engineer with expertise in stormwater management and design, for which the applicant has agreed to pay the fees to review, and here's what he adds, and provide input on those four things. Rather than just review, he would like.
Oh, and provide
Yes,
input.
that's
That's fine.
getting input.
It's obvious, but
Right,
right.
Yeah. Might as well say it, right?
Anything else?
No.
And before we pass this, maybe we should say, Ms. Harper, are you willing to pay for this?
Yes, I am willing to pay for this. I'd like to see the scope as written out because I haven't seen that before. But I am willing to pay for what needs to happen for the peer review.
Okay, if you could follow that up with a formal
like
to the committee, that would be great.
Do a certain amount to extend, because I right now have no idea what the budget is. And if the dollar amount exceeds that, then
Oh, I think.
I will approve it. But I'd like to see the scope.
She's breaking up too.
Could you, maybe, Ms. Harbor, could you turn off your video and also say that again?
Okay, sorry. Yes, I am willing to pay for the peer review. I would like to see the scope as written, because this is the first time I'm hearing it, just to make sure that it's clear. And I have agreed to pay up to a $5,000 amount, with the condition that if the dollar amount is over that, that I will review that and likely approve it. But I don't have any idea of what the current cost, the budget is for this peer review. And so I think that's something that is just in fairness to me to let me know what to expect.
Okay, is that agreeable to you? Okay, so that sounds agreeable to the commissioner, so, thank you for that. Now, is there anything else about this? Okay, so you've made the motion. So let's vote on it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so we can send you Lisa will send you the language, Betsy, and the next person you'll hear from is probably the commissioner.
Yeah.
So thank you is she gone already? Oh, no, there you are. So thank you for agreeing to that. Okay. The next agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, for coming.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, that's much appreciated. I passed the wording to her, so she'll have that.
I'll pass it around. It's the thing in the box.
And all of you are now leaving. When is
We
didn't see this. So
that I can say something that sounds.
yes, Lisa had all of your email, right?
Yes.
There was a response today from Mr. Degley and Mr. Lee on the response to the Dennis Murphy memo, and she will send it to you guys tomorrow.
I'll also send it.
And we all have your phone number now.
Josh, you're gonna be getting so many calls.
Okay, the next item is 193-25. Councilors Oliver and Lucas requesting a discussion with the Department of Public Works about standard procedures for road work. The discussion should include procedures on planning, communications with neighbors and impacted parties, norms for police details, contractors' use, work hours, noise, debris, dust, litigation, road closures, and hours of operation. With the two, would like to join the table? Yes.
Sorry.
It was last night. Oh, it was last night. The floor is yours.
Good evening, councilors. I did not prepare a presentation to this because I didn't have exact questions. I did provide a substantial amount of information on how we handle planning our road work, what standards we use to determine what mitigation is needed. Happy to take any questions.
So Council Lucas, you're here. Aren't you still here?
Yeah, he was here.
He was here.
He
Okay,
did-
exclusive?
Maybe he's coming in person.
Is Council Oliver here?
No,
No,
neither of them.
Oh,
Okay,
should I
go
text
home.
him?
No, yeah,
I would text them.
no.
Okay.
Yes.
We're not gonna talk about any colors, this.
I have no idea.
I don't think we should.
Color should, center line.
Are you texting both
Yeah,
Oliver and Lucas?
yeah. Are you texting too?
I don't bother.
I'm just saying, you're
Different
not
colors.
starting. Let's see if we get a response. But it's weird, isn't it, you know? He was there the other meeting going on?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Well, should we go on to the next item?
Yeah,
while
no,
we're waiting? Is that?
But that's,
I-
yes,
Do they have to sit there and wait? that
Yeah.
long?
Yeah, it's fine. It will
I'm
be
just trying to
okay.
think what's our
The
next.
first locations is probably
Nice
the
location.
for public
Is
hearing.
anybody have a source here?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, National Grid. So I think that the next one is actually National Grid.
Yes.
Right. So this one is, a national 225 National Grid petition for grant of location to install and maintain gas in Washington Street as follows. And it's the main drain extension for what we used to call the Dunstan East project.
Newton Commons now.
We held that item because we had asked the national, the national, can't speak anymore. It asked Dunstan East owners, whoever their name is, if they were willing to go all electric as opposed to the gas for commercial and electric for the residential, which they had already agreed to in the 40B. Lisa sent around emails today that the petitioner has agreed to go all electric, but they want heat for the winter construction season. So would you like to join us at the table?
Oh, sure.
So the issue is, they need heat for the construction season, and it says so in the email that it would cost $400,000 to use diesel. And I think it would be more reasonable to use gas for the construction season. So they would have the gas installed and have it capped off, and then everything would be electric after that. And I think it says in the email, should probably have printed it. It says, can you open them? I think it says that the gas would only be for the construction site as opposed for the building itself. And so that's what they're asking for. And do you have any further information for us? Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mary and I'm here representing National Grid. I'm still representing the original. The customer had requested an opening in Washington Street and then a main to be put in on Kempton Place, which is a private way to use gas for commercial cooking and like fire pits and I guess gas grills on the property when the buildings, and then you suggested that they have to have a source and made a connection and this is the first I'm hearing of that.
You know, I don't, let me open the email because we should have printed it.
Haven't we banned fire pits?
That I don't know.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be real, but you're not supposed to. Fire pits.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have them.
Let me read the email into the record. Do you have it easily accessible?
Is this true?
Yes. I have the.
Okay, so the first one that came was from Paul Shea, who's manager. It said, oops, where'd it go?
Sorry, I'm just gonna share.
Share, yeah. Oops.
I'm just trying to show.
Well, you can use it
only-
for cooking. Okay.
Okay, can you scroll down a little bit? We don't need the John Dagland.
No. I'm going to share. Just this.
Okay. All right, so this is what he wrote. Yeah, your understanding is correct. The temporary gas line to provide heat to construction site during this winter. That we have talked to Eversource, they have capacity to help. Oh, you're reading. They have capacity to help and whoa, where'd it go? And they don't require that they purchase new equipment. Their goal is to use gas during construction, then ask National Grid to cap the line and move to electricity. We got that line from the construction manager, and then we got a subsequent email from Eli, who's the owner, but how do you say it?
I think it's touchstone.
Petro. And he said, he made a comment, he said, I'm glad to Do you have the other one? I don't wanna
Yeah, it was
paraphrase it.
Said something like,
He agrees.
happy or proud to comply or something like that.
Yeah, with what we and what the committee wants to electrify.
Yeah.
So and I know that the person at National Grid that he is working with is on vacation. Because Amy Smith tried to get in touch with that person
Correct.
and that person
Because
was
Amy was
out.
gonna come tonight, but she had a conflict,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I don't know that they have a final price yet of how much you're gonna charge, because I understand. This, I'm learning a lot. I understand that when you install new gas line, you assume that someone's gonna use it for 20 years, and that's built into the cost. But if it's a one-time use, it'll be a higher cost to install the gas line. But I don't think he's been given a price yet.
The only other question I have is, it's phased into the construction. And what do you use gas for during construction?
It's to heat the building while the workers are
For
inside.
the construction workers can pay, but the phasing is a good question, there is a community liaison committee on this project, which I'm on. And so I know Paul Shea and Eli, we meet every month, and the project is being phased in 3 phases, so they'll cap it off after this phase.
He didn't, after construction,
Yeah, but construction is gonna go on for years. It's in 3 different buildings, and there's phase 1 and phase 2, so I'm wondering, will they cap it off now, and when they start up construction again,
they may
need
need
to
it for that.
reinstall it, or will they need another gas line for that end of the project?
That's
That's not
I
clear to
don't
me.
know that.
Me too.
I know that we talked about gonna start having people, it doesn't matter when people are gonna live there, but it could be another 2 years of construction. So I'm assuming that when you install the line, they can send it internally to their site to wherever they need it to go.
They would have to request where it's going on the
Yes.
property, yes. If it
But
worked
they're
out,
constructing 2 buildings now and a 3rd in the future.
Yes.
On a different part of the site, and I'm just wondering, will this accommodate all of that over a 5-year construction period, or is this for 2 buildings for a 2-year construction?
I don't have the answer to that.
The language is very vague, really. It's 225, right? The item, request for granted location on Washington Street, it just says, a granted location to install and maintain gas main in Washington as follows, the main extension installed approximately 46 feet of 6-inch plastic main from Washington Street to the new gas main in Kempton Place. That's all it says. It doesn't say it's temporary. I'm not comfortable voting for that.
No, it can't, we have to condition it.
Yeah,
And that's the Kempton Place side, not the Dunstan Road side, so this might come up again then, if they need it again for the next phase. Possibly.
So if you're gonna suggest that we hold the item, okay, good,
I
because,
suggest we move approval subject to clarifying
yes,
which part they're using it for and how it's gonna be used, and that it's temporary.
that sounds right to me. If we hold the item, we're running out of construction time.
Yeah.
And,
I think we can easily do it on second call or first call, whatever.
that
Let's
sounds
just get
good.
some answers from Eli and
Yeah.
Paul Shea.
So make your motion again.
I make a motion to approve, subject to second call,
With what
with
is
the conditions that we understand
Construction phase.
the construction phasing and how this gas will be used. And that it will be used for all 3 sections.
And then
And then also that it's temporary.
temporary. Well, you'll have that on tape.
and it's just for the heating, for the comfort of the construction workers.
And it's just for the heating. for the-
And no fire gas.
And we're talking specifically about the difference between the Dunstan side and
That-
I mean,
Those
that
are
could be
the 2 sides of
Yes,
the
the
phasing.
Okay.
By the way, freestanding outdoor appliances that are not attached to the building are allowed.
Yeah, and you should use it for cooking.
You could, yeah.
Yes, so the construction workers can cook in the fire pits.
As long as they're not attached to the building.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, yes.
Hot dogs.
Great.
Yeah. Hot dog.
So does that make sense to you, all of that?
Oh my God.
I'm just a little, I just want to clear that I'm National Grid, I'm here only for Kempton Place and a small opening in Washington
Yes.
Street. That Dunstan is it's probably grouped in, because I thought there were
It's-
4 apartments that were actually going in.
Or 3 buildings.
Yeah,
Anyway.
this building's, might look like.
Well, there are like 500 and something units altogether.
Yeah,
And
it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so,
maybe there was going to come a later request
Maybe.
for gas, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
We could find
Yeah.
that out based on this information that you're asking for.
And that it would be up to the owners to request, them to discontinue the
Yeah.
It
debt
was a
service.
temporary nature capping and maybe needing to uncap and start over, and I was wondering about, so that's, we can follow up with that,
Yeah.
and I agree with you both that we should move forward and vote on this, so that we don't hold things up.
Okay, and we'll get the information between now and the council meeting. So are we ready to vote on this one?
Yes.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Is Council Gentile still here?
Yep. Counselor Gentile, are you still here?
I'm here. Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous. We have one more very quick item.
Like to close the public hearing for this item or?
Oh, did this not have a public hearing?
It is a
Does
public
this still
hearing.
have a public hearing open?
I believe it. yes.
Okay, so, well,
We
we,
didn't open the public
we
hearing.
need I think we did the last time.
Oh, you did one.
Yeah.
Motion to close public hearing.
Does anyone want to speak from the public?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, congratulations,
Oh.
fine work too.
Yes.
You came for something.
All right, does anybody else want to speak on this? So we have a motion to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
aye,
We do have Counselor Oliver.
And there's one other quick, you withdrew the Hagen and Colgate from the last, but we forgot to, no action necessary for it.
Okay,
So we're just gonna, can we take that up quickly and then your role will be over?
sure.
That's on item 199-25 parens 2. It was request for granted location in Colgate Road and Hager Street. And that was removed from your granted location, but we just didn't, no action necessary.
I'll
From
look
Grove.
to NAN.
Okay. Was there a public hearing open for this one?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here to speak on Colgate and Hager?
Yes, I didn't follow that quick conversation. I understood that Grove Street was approved by the city council,
Yes.
that's going ahead.
Yes,
And this item today is about Hager and Colgate,
yes.
and what is being proposed by.
So they were removed by National Grid, but we held the item. So we're, now we're no action necessary on this item, so we don't have to deal with it anymore.
Congratulations.
Okay, so, is there a motion on that?
I move to NAN. Motion to close the public. And motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, we should vote on closing the public hearing first. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? And now the motion to, no action necessary.
No action necessary for 199-25.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, okay. So you're finished.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
We have Counselor Oliver with us. We lost Counselor Lucas. Counselor Oliver.
He's in the CS&T.
Two more to go.
No,
He's
You
coming.
want us, what?
Keep
going?
Well,
Not the Eversource ones?
I'm
sure.
Not
Okay.
really, but it makes sense.
All right, so we have petition 221-25, Eversource Energy petitioning for a grant application to install and maintain approximately 30 feet of conduit from manhole 7044 within Washington Street toward the north and into Dunstable Street. Who do we have here from Eversource? We have Joan.
Good evening.
Hi,
How are you?
good. How are you? Do you want to sort of introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Joanne Callender and I am a representative of Eversource. And as was just read in your hearing, we are seeking a grant of location to install approximately 30 feet of conduit into Washington Street. And that is for the commercial/residential building for 1185 Washington Street.
Any questions about it? So this is all underground, yes?
Yes, from the manhole, the existing manhole.
Yeah. So does anybody want to make a motion?
I'm looking motion to open public hearing.
Okay. Would anybody like to speak on the matter? Seeing none, we can close the public hearing. We can vote on that, I guess. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposition? No.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Okay.
Again, my word again.
All right,
All
so
opposed.
Counselor Kelly has moved approval for 221-25. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. The next one is 222-25. Eversource petitioning for grant of location to install and maintain an anchor guide on pole 73-70-34, approximately 15 feet northwest pole location, approximately 278 feet north of Cotton Street on the westerly side of Center Street.
I think this is Ward 7, is that
It sounds like what.
Counselor?
it is Ward 7.
Yeah, there's 1-7.
This calendar, will this be obstructing pedestrians, this guy wire?
Will it be obstructing them? Is that what you said?
Yes, is it on the sidewalk?
No, I believe it's going to be anchored down on the grassy area behind the pole.
Okay.
This calendar, didn't this come before us before, and then it was, in front of a homeowner's house who wasn't I guess consulted or contacted about it, and then they ended up just, deciding not to do the project?
I'm not aware of that. This pole
Very
is
close,
leaning
yeah.
into the street on Center Street. And I don't recall a homeowner being opposed to it. I don't recall a home
I
being.
think just wasn't contacted, but then for some reason it was withdrawn, but it was very close to this location if it's not the same pole. So that's why I was just asking, but if it's not.
President Moreno, do you have a comment about that?
I don't recall, Counselor Leary, I have some memory of some pole in that general vicinity.
Right.
We hear lots of poll stories, so I can't remember exactly which one.
Poles on Suffolk Road.
Tom, Bagley has his hand up.
But I do have a general question. If the pole's not secure, why not put a new pole there and get rid of this one?
You know, I need to look that up to be honest with you, but I believe a new pole is going in as well. The pole is being replaced, but because of the amount of wires on the actual pole, it still needs to anchor to hold it up so that it doesn't lean as it is doing right now.
Mr. Daglian has his hand up. Maybe you can.
That doesn't strike me as a particularly good way of doing things. If we know day one, the pole is going to be so overweight that it's tilting. Shouldn't we be thinking about a better way of distributing the wires?
Ms.
If
Callan?
that question is for me, I can bring it back to our engineering team, but I'm not technical in any stretch of the imagination.
Look, I don't want to have a safety issue here. I want to be really clear about that. But if we're replacing an existing pole with a new pole that's going to be subject to such weight that it needs a guide, a wire to secure it, that seems to be inherently problematic to begin with.
Mr. Daglian, do you have anything something to add to this?
Yeah, just for clarification, this pole is in front of the Boston College Law School, and immediately across the street is the cemetery. And the reason they're putting a guy wire in it, there is an angle point that this pole, it doesn't show the other poles in the region, but there's an angle point in the distribution of the weight of the wires. That's why they need the guy wire.
Forgive me, may I just respond, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Daglian, so are you saying that the way the weight is distributed, this is really the only solution?
Our understanding is that Eversource needs the guy wire because of the lateral pulling on both sides of the pole for the wires that go both north and south of this location. That's why they need the guy wire as well.
In other words, there's no other way of securing it properly so it stands straight. Is that correct?
It's the safest way to do it.
Okay. And it's right in front of, the BC Law School. If it's in front of BC Law School, that actually is probably Ward 2, not Ward 7. Counselor Albright,
Well, since I'm the
but
chair,
I'll,
go ahead.
yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just for the record. But, so the way the guy wire is gonna be constructed, there's no issue with people tripping over it or walking near it or anything like that?
No, there's a very wide grass strip between the sidewalk and the property line. There's
Okay,
gotta be about 20, 30 feet of grass. It's not a path of travel.
okay, I think I know exactly where that is. All right, I'm, with that said, I'm comfortable with this from what you're saying. Thank you, Mr. Dagland, appreciate it.
Motion. So will you make the motion?
Yeah, I'll move approval.
Do you need to open the public?
Yes, so let's open the public hearing.
Oh, sorry.
Here to speak on this one?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Okay. So President Laredo has moved to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay,
He also moved.
and we moved approval of this item of 2/22/25. All those in favor say aye.
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 Abstentions? Opposition? Okay. All right, now we're back to. We still have Councilor Oliver, yes, we just don't have Councilor Lucas, but
And he's in PSNT. And I'm saying they only have one item.
well, we read the item into the record, Councilor Oliver, and Commissioner Sullivan is here with Terry Crowley. And they're ready to answer questions based on all of the information they put in the packet for us. Do you want to speak to this item? And tell us, what your issues are and ask any questions that you would like to ask?
Sure. And I just kind of swapped a couple messages with Councilor Lucas. He is hoping to get here quickly. But the impetus for us docketing this item definitely stemmed from, but is not limited to, the incidents or the actions, everything that took place on, I believe it was June 26th on Adams Street. It was just odd to my ear that what was happening there was considered normal in terms of like our normal procedures and so on and so forth. Some of them it made total sense to me. For example, why some of that work would be done at night, right, when there's less traffic. That makes sense to me. There were a few kind of moments where there were things that I was hearing that didn't make a ton of sense to me. Like, for example, there was a video that was circulating. Clearly, there was no police detail. The road had not been closed to traffic. There were cars that were actually trying to, and I think in one or two cases, were passing the equipment that was actively working in the middle of the road. That does not seem safe to me by any stretch of the imagination. I would like to understand how the city would feel about, or how the city could institute a process by which neighbors would at least be notified somehow. I know it would be very hard to do for a long stretch of road, via email, certainly, even by mail, that would be tricky. But I do think that there were a lot of, how do I want to say this? If we were to separate what was actually happening in the middle of the road with the symbolism of what was happening in the middle of the road, if I could divorce those two things, I think there are some valid questions there. There was a lot of dust and smoke being created. There was a lot of noise there, as I mentioned a minute ago. I was really kind of taken aback by the fact that cars were passing the equipment in the middle of the road. And I just wanted to get a sense of how it was that situation kind of came about. And I was really surprised to hear that was, normal. Because I think we can do better than that. And with that said, that's just kind of my take on it. I don't know if Counselor Lucas, you kind of came in halfway through what I was just saying. I didn't know if you wanted to kind of add some more to that at this point.
Yes. I just have a, Counselor Oliver, I just have a question. Are you talking about the first, at the night when the 26th, when it was first done? You're not talking about the second.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. The night, and I'll probably use the wrong term, but it was like the yellow line was being ground off the center of the road.
Yes,
That,
that was
yeah.
June 26th, was that?
Yeah.
June
I think
26th,
that's
that
what it
was
was.
done in the middle of late at night, which is what the usual routine is my
It is
understanding.
Well,
usually.
let's hear from Commissioner Sullivan.
Yeah. just
I
wanna
would
be clear.
start and
Yes.
agree that the communication on this project was not great. We did meet with the St. Mary Common Society a number of times previously, not right before, and we did not notice that. Unfortunately, we did request and were approved for police detail that got called away. I don't know what emergency situation happened. I'm not privy to that information. That would be a question for the police, I believe. I can't answer that. We do all of our line painting at night. We generally do not notice for that. It happens all of the time throughout the city. The grounding, however, is another matter. We probably should have done a better job notifying people. We did use equipment that is integrated with a high power vacuum that removes dust and debris generated by the grinding operation from the air at the source. This equipment that the contractor uses all across Massachusetts, including the Mass Department of Transportation, and it's compliant with all environmental regulations.
So would there have been cars driving on the street at the same time if the police detail had been there?
The police would manage the traffic. They would probably allow cars to pass.
Okay.
It was along the center line. It is from my understanding, it's a fairly quick operation, the grinding. And then they get on with the paint.
Council Leary?
Is it unusual for the police detail to be removed?
It
for something
does
like that?
happen. Usually it's some other emergency that takes precedent over our detail.
Like right now up in Lower Falls, they're doing all sidewalks over there.
Mm-hmm.
If that police detail left, it would be bedlam there.
They would shut it down. The police have that
Okay.
power.
Okay.
We work with the police on all of our detours and all of our projects. We meet with them weekly at our construction meeting to review what we're doing, to review plans. Our contractors are required to submit traffic management plans for every project.
And, okay, and my other question was, given this sort of sensitivity of this project, the Ward 1 councilors were not notified.
I understand.
And that was, I think, a lack of a failure in communication in that way, and I think that was a critical failure in.
I agree
We would have
with you.
said, all is holy, no, wait till after the festival.
It will not happen going forward. We
Yeah.
can make sure that notification goes out. We've also changed our policy about the noise ordinance for line striping. We will be requesting all of our contractors to pull a noise waiver, even if it's just me.
Okay, thank you.
And
Go ahead, Councilor Oliver.
sorry, thank you. I couldn't find the raise my hand button quickly enough. I'm sorry. The microphone I think is behind Commissioner Sullivan, so I think I heard that right. But did I hear that like the noise, like we're looking to pull a noise ordinance or get approval to waive the noise ordinance, for these grinders? Is that what I basically just heard?
You heard me say that we'll be going forward. We will be ensuring that our contractors, even if it is line painting, pull a noise waiver request.
Okay. And then I understand that, and I appreciate that. I think that, again, just from an SOP perspective, right? Standard operating procedure, like it does seem odd, like I've heard a couple of things that sound odd to me. Number one, even if the police detail were there, they would still allow cars to pass the equipment that are actively working in the middle of the street?
They do, yes. It is a case by case decision and it is within the police's purview what they opt to do. As you saw tonight, Eversource is out there, they are letting cars pass in both directions.
Even
And
on a
that's
street,
detail.
okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
It's okay. I'm all set if you had
Oh,
another.
okay, yeah, I would like to, how would we go about, not that I want to tell NPD what to do by any means, I'm not a police officer, I do not play one on TV. But it does seem to me that on a road that is arguably as narrow as Adams Street is, with cars parked on both sides, that might be something worth reviewing. Like that just doesn't make sense to me. That sounds like, like my mom used to say when I was a little kid, that's an accident waiting to happen. So I would like to kind of like, I don't know if that's a follow-up for yours truly, but I would like to kind of follow that thread a little bit. And if that's something I would take to NPD to question, I'm happy to do that.
I can't speak for MPD, unfortunately or unfortunately. I would be happy to follow up with that if you would like.
Yeah, either that or I can. I'll tell you what. Why don't I send a note and then I'll keep you kind of in the loop, CC'd on that, just so that we can kind of both follow that one
That would be
along.
great.
Councilor Oliver, just to add to just on that point, today there was 2 days, there's been work, I think it was Eversource on Homer, and they closed traffic going towards Newton Center. But National Grid was doing work on Lowell, and they let traffic go on both sides, and they just let one side go at a time. So how do they make that decision?
That is up to MPD and I would say the detail officer.
So, Councilor Oliver, that's a question that I would love to have an answer to too, so I think it's a
Okay.
general question to
All
them
right.
about that.
When I send that note, I'll add you on the copy for that, for sure.
The only other thought that I'm having is that, in terms of just what you were describing, in terms of the accident waiting to happen, there's got to be a criteria or something that sort of triggers the stop. That it actually does not move forward if in fact it is such a potentially dangerous situation. And that's a judgment call you're suggesting in terms of, but if the officer wasn't there, then, where is it going to go? And someone needs to make the decision to stop the work,
They do, yes.
but someone did not.
They did not. They proceeded.
Okay. That's not a good thing.
No, it isn't. We
No.
have spoken to the contractor.
Okay, but there's gotta be something, somewhere that says you do not proceed, if the
There's-
detail doesn't show up.
There's language in our contracts.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
I submitted, I believe,
On
yesterday.
page 100
Yeah. So it outlines the requirements for
Okay.
the traffic management, the police detail.
Okay,
So unfortunately, that didn't happen.
okay.
We have spoken with that contractor several
I'm
times
even
at this
thinking that
point.
there's gotta be language that says you don't get your money, or something that cancels the contract.
That's beyond my field.
Okay.
Councilor Leary?
So, Shawna, so just what you were talking about with your contractors and the language in there, are these new contractors? Because usually you use the same guys and they know our rules.
So we use marking ink. We don't often grind out lines. So we use them to paint. They don't normally pull a noise waiver. They should have done the police details. They did request it. That person didn't show. They moved forward. They shouldn't have.
Okay. And you addressed that with them already?
Yes,
Okay,
more than once.
okay, thank you.
And if I may, I just want to continue on the topic of notification. And again, I do want to keep separate, like, as Councilor O'Leary, wholeheartedly support the comment. Nobody in Ward 1, like the councilors, knew that this was on the table, or was going to happen, or when it was going to happen. But separate to that, I do want to, like, come back to the, no notification of neighbors. And I guess to a degree, like, I understand why we wouldn't, as a city, like at the city level, why that would be difficult, and therefore why we wouldn't want to commit to doing that in all cases. I do wonder, however, if we collectively feel that there is because I do, something to be considered here, because and maybe it has something to do with the proximity of homes to the street or the work being done. I don't know. But it does seem to me that, an entire neighborhood, you know, 10 o'clock at night, had no idea this was going to happen. It was loud, it was dusty, even if it was the SOP or the machine that everybody uses, dust mitigation and so forth. Like the video that I saw was alarming, I think, to have running down the center of the street at 10 o'clock at night. And I do wonder how, Commissioner, you feel about that. Do you think that's something that's worth looking into? I don't know if this has come up in other places. Again, keeping in mind that I am trying to, separate kind of the two potential issues from June 26th.
I understand. I don't know if you heard me earlier say that we did fail in our communication for this. It won't happen
okay.
going forward. We always notify people when we're paving or doing any road work. We either flyer, message board, send mailers, door hangers throughout. I think that this was an unusual circumstance. We would not do that for painting. It's a very quick process and generally disturbs nobody. We do it in the middle of the night. The grinding should have been noticed, yes.
Yeah, which makes sense to me.
Going forward,
Painting
we will be
doesn't.
doing that.
In noise related work.
Yes, and require a noise waiver.
Councilor Oliver, I think we might have missed a comment that you just made, because
Sorry, I interrupted.
did you say something that nobody responded to by any chance? Councilor Oliver, still there?
I'm sorry, you're saying that I said something that you missed?
No, somebody said something, but somebody else was talking at the same time.
Sorry. What did you end with?
Okay,
Me?
Yes.
never mind.
Sorry, yeah, this room is tough, audio wise. The last thing I said was I totally understand how painting wouldn't be, a concern, but it was really the grinding, right, of the other paint in the center of the road that I was really kind of referring to. That's where the noise, the dust, the commotion, if you will, came from.
I understand and agree with you and can't go backwards, but going forward, we are committed to notifying people.
All right, thank you. I look forward to kind of, following up with NPD, and I do appreciate the time here. I know that, again, keeping the two issues separate is important here. And I do appreciate, the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Councilor Lucas, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Briefly, I was in PS&T. We were talking about putting cameras on school buses, so that was a priority. I joined this in the middle of the conversation, so I don't know what was missed. I think Counselor Oliver and Leary and Commissioner Sullivan are talking about Adams Street. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything else that I think everything has already been said about it. I appreciate Commissioner Sullivan saying that, a mistake was made and it won't happen again. I appreciate that. Um, you know, it's really unfortunate what happened on Adams Street. And I just, that's all I really have to say for now. If there's anything else I could chime in. Thank you, Chair.
I just want to say that I had no idea this was only about Adams Street. I thought this was a general discussion that we would talk about protocols that would be applied citywide, and I guess these would apply citywide.
They do all apply citywide.
But this was raised specifically for the issues around Adams Street, so. It would have been helpful to have that in the heading, so I would have been more informed about it.
Well, if I may, the intent here was to highlight what happened on Adams Street as kind of a question mark as to what our SOP or our normal standards are across the city. So you're 100% right, Counselor. The impetus was what I saw in that video on Adams Street, but the responses to the questions that we had asked following that made me docket with Counselor Lucas, some broader questions as to, well, is that really the right thing to be doing across the city?
Yeah, the only comment, because I was on your page, in terms of thinking that it was citywide.
Yes.
And I was, sort of reflecting on what's happened because they're doing the gas replacement this summer all around Woburn Square. And it's Kim. It's been incredible just in terms of being the community link, and I see her all the time. Just even in terms of.
She's fantastic.
She's actually done a really good job of keeping us informed, both Sachiko of the Suzuki School, so that then we can notice people, in terms of when, the street is. But I was actually even wanting to take it further so that then people would be able to go to the city website, have an active map, being able to know when the road closures
That
happen.
exists.
Oh.
Terry Crowley maintains that weekly. She is our fabulous communicator.
Okay, well, but there is an actual sort of
There
data
is
log.
There is
Okay.
a map. It's
Okay.
under Public Works Construction
Okay,
Project.
so I need that link or I'll start digging.
Happy to send it to you.
But,
I'll send it to everyone on the committee.
I'm getting lots of people asking me, and it's great to see a moving project sort of go today or this week, they're gonna be, and I get that from him as a narrative. So that then I can tell people, but, it would really be helpful.
So we do our best, but obviously weather plays a part in that. Race details play a
Right.
part in that.
Yeah.
If we can't get them, sometimes we
Yeah.
can't move forward.
Yeah, yeah.
And the schedule
Yeah.
changes. So just keep that in mind, please.
Yeah, because it's hugely impactful, and right now the MBTA is running buses. And so that layers into it as well.
Yes.
Like today there was, they double teamed the buses.
It's a massive project.
They're huge buses.
Yeah, big yellow bus.
Oh, and they just block the whole roadway, so no one can move anywhere, they're sitting, doing what they're doing, no passengers. And, it's just, it generates a huge amount of insanity.
Well, Tuesday came, the day after Labor Day, poof, the traffic all appeared.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, I have to say, I've seen Terry Crowley out and about putting door hangers, notifying about.
My specialty.
Yeah.
Terry's incredible.
Okay, well, I'm looking for it.
That wouldn't be appropriate.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so we're done?
Does anybody else have anything they want to ask about this topic? No? So is this a no action necessary, Councilors Oliver and Lucas? Yes, so,
Yes, that's fine.
okay, so Councilor Denberg is no action necessary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And that's it, we're done.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much for coming.
Good night, all.
Recording stopped.